us overcome our darkest hour, you, along with every other loyal taxpayer, help build this nation. Thank you for every life you saved and for every risk you braved, for giving our future generation a healthy start. When you saw many of our vulnerable communities, you provided for them. When you saw our healthcare workers on the front lines battling COVID, you rose to the occasion and gave them the tools to save lives. Without your tax compliance, we wouldn't be able to fight a good fight. Thank you for contributing to the important services our vulnerable communities rely on every day.
You are muted, Kathleen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and thank you for joining us today as we present this SMME Traders' Rights webinar. My name is Katlego Moralo and I will be your program director for this webinar. It is with great pleasure that we present to you with information on your rights and compliance obligations as SMME traders. Before we commence with the program, please note the following. You will be prompted to complete a short survey at the end of the program. Kindly take time to complete the survey as it will assist us with feedback on information shared today. Please make use of the chat box at the bottom of the screen to post some of your questions and comments. Questions will be responded to in the Q&A session. To protect your confidentiality, please do not disclose any personal information in the chat as part of your question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will try to respond to as many questions as possible during this session. But please note that you can also use the following email address should your questions not be answered. Traders' Rights questions@sars.gov.za. That's Traders' Rights questions@sars.gov.za. The team will then respond to your questions directly. If you experience an interruption due to load shedding, please note that you can join this webinar on YouTube. This webinar will also be posted on the SARS YouTube channel for future reference. The information that you share, that we will share with you today can also be accessed on the SARS website and the website of the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. Today's program will be divided in 3 parts. The first being a presentation on your rights and obligations with SARS, followed by a presentation from the Office of the Tax Ombudsman on your rights and their services. Then finally will be the Q&A session with a panel of experts to respond to your questions. To open today's engagement, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Henson Msongweni, who will provide us with his welcoming remarks. Mr. Msongweni has 22 years of experience at SARS in the customs and excise area. He has held various leadership roles within the organization and is currently the executive manager responsible for SMME traders and travelers. Mr. Msongweni holds a postgraduate diploma and an advanced certificate in business management and executive leadership trainings and a number of SARS internal customs trainings. He is currently working on his dissertation for his master's in public management. Mr. Msongweni is the current chairperson of the Gender and Diversity Mainstreaming Working Group and is also a regional chairperson of the SARS Employment Equity and Skills Development Committee. He is very committed to women's empowerment. The platform is yours, Mr. Msongweni.
Thank you, Program Director Katlego. Greetings to our traders and taxpayers. My dear colleagues here at SARS, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are glad to welcome you to our Traders' Rights webinar. The objectives of our webinar today is to educate our taxpayers and the custom cross-border traders about their rights and the channels to follow when their rights have not been upheld. Who would have thought 4 years ago that SARS as a revenue and a customs administration would have a live and a vibrant tax and trader education division that is solely built to empower and provide clarity to traders through different education platforms. We are excited today that you have joined us to this webinar, where we will be empowering you with the necessary information about your rights as traders and or as partners in trade. Ladies and gentlemen, who have thought 4 years ago that a law enforcement agents like ours would have a live and a vibrant SMME division that will be designed to be a close eye and an all-round ambassador for traders and taxpayers within this segment. In preparation for this webinar, to be delivered shortly today, our approach was deliberate and biased towards the small, medium, and micro traders. The good story to be delivered by our two presenters, the good Dr. Thomas and Russell's, has been simplified to ensure it's easily understood and consumed by our small, medium, and micro traders. Through this SMME segment within SARS, we indeed want to see our traders doing business with SARS with less or no pain and at the very lowest cost. We want our small traders to have a loud voice and meet their tax obligation with ease and without fear of any form of victimization. Madam Program Director, almost 4 years back, who on this earthly planet would have thought that a revenue institution like SARS would have a fully capacitated division focusing on gender equality and persons with disability? Once again, with this webinar today, we will also ensure inclusivity where our most vulnerable traders and taxpayers will be informed of their rights, and if those rights are violated, what is the process and where to go to report? Unfortunately, it has been brought to our attention that our women in trade and trade led by people with disability are somehow the victim within the tax and the custom value chain. With this webinar, we are taking it upon ourselves to support our traders and to empower them to know exactly what button to press when they encounter such ugly elements. We are committed to being a SARS that is admired and trusted by all, particularly you traders and taxpayers. Hence, we put our value of transparency into practice by outlining the process to be followed by our traders should they encounter elements of fraud and corruption. Traders and taxpayers, we are alive to the reality that we will never win on our own. Hence, we are working with and through different stakeholders. In today's webinar, we will be joined by our watchdog, the tax Ombus. This partnership further prove and demonstrate that we want to be transparent in our dealings with you. We believe that the only way to improve our service is to embrace all the shortfalls that you raised and find the best way to improve our services. We are constantly reminded by our commissioner that no service is no service at all. We really believe that most taxpayers are honest. Hence, we put all energy and effort to support you through the different platforms. Because your tax matters, we encourage you to continue engaging us and sharing with us how best we should support you. Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Program Director, as I conclude, it is my great hope that you will have an enjoyable webinar this morning. Thank you, Program Director, and a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you, and back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Msongweni. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you our first presenter, Dr. Chelilo Thomas Radzelani. Dr. Radzelani holds a doctorate of commerce.
Madam Program Director, as I conclude, it is my great hope that you will have an enjoyable webinar this morning. Thank you, Program Director, and a warm welcome to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Msongweni. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you our first presenter, Dr. Chelilo Thomas Radzelani. Dr. Radzelani holds a doctorate, PhD of Commerce in Business Management from the University of Zululand, a master's in business management and a higher diploma in business management. He also has a BTech meteorology. Dr. Radzelani has been in various government departments over 38 years. He is a true public servant at heart. He has 18 years of experience at SARS in various management roles across divisions. Currently, he is the head of Enterprise Service Charter Champion Ambassador. The commissioner fondly refers to Dr. Radzelani as Malusi, as he shepherds the SARS service culture. Without further ado, Dr. Radzelani, the platform is yours. Dr. Radzelani, you are muted.
Thank you very much, Program Director. It gives me pleasure to be part of this great day where we talk and share about the traders and taxpayers' rights. And I do believe that my technical team will help me to ensure that I'm able to share the presentation to all of you. It is also an important day today, as this organization is sharing the way they do things to all of us. And what we are going to do today to help you fully understand is to bring this knowledge to say, you need to understand and find a better way of doing things with this organization. But also we want to simplify to you on what is contained in the legislations in a simple manner. And whatever we're going to share here, because it's just part of what is in the law takes precedence if some of the information you find here is in contradiction to what we say. As you have heard when Mr. Msongweni was welcoming us, he is saying this organization truly is focusing on its vision to be smart, modern SARS, which has unquestionable integrity, and it should be trusted and admired within the government setup and also by the international peers. And for us to do so, we follow our strategic objectives, where the first strategic objectives tell us that we should make things easy and simple for you to comply. And we are doing that through this process also. But strategic objective number 2, it asks SARS to say, please create awareness and clarity and offer certainty for things which people possibly don't fully know. And we are here to help you to know. Of course, when we move to our strategic objective number 3, which augments the number 1 and number 2, those who are not willing to comply, we will make it hard for them not to comply. Therefore, that enforcement leg comes in. But this organization, it's saying, within its own strategic objectives, when we focus on strategic objective number 6, is to say we need to modernize and provide seamless online digital services to all of you. And that is to ensure that SARS is available 24/7. And also SARS ensures that you don't need to travel distances to ensure that you comply. Yes, we are so happy that you, as part of the audience today, taxpayer and traders, SARS is saying we work with and through stakeholders. And that is our strategic objective number 8. And we are here to ensure that really we work with and through stakeholders. What am I going to do today? I'm going to help us to say, yes, truly we need knowledge, we need understanding, and we need wisdom. And where do we do that? Through our legislations. I will be giving you the picture about what is entailed in our legislations. And also I will go to the service charter and indicate what promises this organization has done when it comes to your rights and your obligations. I will share with you the process which we are supposed to go through if really you are aggrieved by this organization, where possibly you will be lodging disputes or an appeal, or you might choose to follow alternative dispute resolution. But of course, this organization is saying, we are an organization which must help this country, South Africa, trying to do part of our higher purpose, which is to ensure that this country, as a democratic state, we should help it to meet its social and economic development needs. While we do that, we should not look away to the challenges of this country, where it is fighting the 3 challenges or triple challenges. One of them is poverty and unemployment. And the other one is fraud. And the last one is the gender-based violence. SARS doesn't want to look aside to say it's not my issue. SARS is saying you are part of us. And therefore, where we are not, you'll be able to offer your ears and you will be able to offer us your eyes. And therefore, that's what I will be sharing to you today. Yes, the service charter, which is available on our website, it promises and it shows commitment on what SARS is saying, aligned to the constitution of this country. But of course, when we look at the mandate of this organization, is to look at the constitution, which is the super law of the country, to say this is what is expected from the public service by the people of South Africa, because SARS is doing work on behalf of the people of South Africa, which is stewardship. Therefore, we will share with you that portion, and we also will share with you the mandate which comes from that. And mostly when it talks about the chapter 2, the Bill of Rights, and also when it talks about section 195, which indicates what is expected from the public service. Yes, this organization is mandated and also follows the laws. There's promotion of access to information, which this law is saying, you as taxpayer, you as traders, you as small business, you should have access to information, even information which has been utilized to assess you. When you need to get that information or when you need to get reasons, SARS must be able to oblige to the law. Yes, this organization called SARS is here to follow promotion of Administrative Justice Act, so that then at the end there's fairness, there's equity, there's transparency. Whatever which is being done as an administrative action, that action you are able to ask and challenge it. You are also able to dispute, to lodge dispute against it if you are not satisfied or happy about it. Of course, this organization needs to really ensure that they protect the information which you provide to SARS to do its job. Therefore, we need to honor the Protection of Personal Information Act so that whatever you have done, there should be confidentiality. Wherever you are sitting, you should know that the information which you have provided to SARS is for SARS to do its work. And therefore, we are going to ensure that whatever we share with you, it's aligned to the laws of this country. This organization is saying, even the resources at our disposal, which we need to use to help the people of South Africa, needs to align to the Public Finance Management Act, because we should have systems, we should have processes which ensures that there's good governance. Of course, the mandate of this organization is fully aligned with the Income Tax Act of 1962. And that act talks to the income which is received, the income which is received by individuals, also companies, the payers who earn. Then we need to honor and ensure that we manage such act. Again, this organization is saying, like today, we are emphasizing that we will manage the Customs and Excise Act in such a way that you, as traders, you feel happy in the way we do things. And also you can see we are open enough to help you. Of course, most of the work and the income which you guys work, which passes through your hands, you also charge value-added tax. And this organization accept that as the custodian, that money on behalf of the country should be transferred properly to SARS, to manage and then to transfer to National Treasury. Yes, we have Tax Administration Act, which manages how we do our work and what should be done and when should it be done. And therefore, governance through this administration needs to be done following the law. And we are here today to share what we are entitled to. Of course, as I have indicated, that most of what I'm going to share is part of the service charter, because the service charter is the promise which this organization talks to you. It promises you the service levels, it promises you the timelines, but also it indicates the mandate which you have given to this organization. But because we are not all conversant with law, and as you also know, in every document which you sign on a regular basis, there are small prints. Therefore, today I want to tell you where you might be reading in law, and it is not explicit that we are referring to customs and excise. Therefore, you should regard customs and excise as part of tax. Therefore, when we talk of the tax system is inclusive of tax, of customs and excise. Even in my terminology, if you might find that I am more referring to tax, don't say, oh, sorry, it seems you are forgetting that we are here on the basis of customs and excise. No, it is because tax is an inclusive word. I'm also here to tell you that as part of the disclaimer, whatever we are going to share, because this is a summary, if you might find anything in contradiction with the law, the act takes precedent. If we talk of timelines, periods of what you are supposed to do, we should be based it in the law. And therefore, there should not be any shadow of contradiction. What are those rights and obligations which are expected for you to be aware of? I do believe that because you work with SARS, you might have read the service charter. If you have not done it yet, the service charter is available on our website. But the service charter has summarized or brought into consolidation the majority of the rights and the obligations which are with you. Therefore, I will be sharing at least the 6 consolidated rights and obligations, because we thought if we give you millions, it is not easy to remember them. But if you give it 6, it is easy to recall them. What is the first right? The first right which you have is the right to clarity and certainty. You are supposed to be informed of your obligations by SARS. Therefore, SARS should empower you. SARS should help you so that you are able to be compliant with the law. And this should be done so that in a proactive manner to you as the taxpayer and to you as the trader. But also we are saying you should be able to receive customized support, which assists you to do what you are supposed to do. And this should be done in different manner, either in manual ways, where you submit manual paperwork. While we are saying we need to migrate to digital, we must also assist you to migrate into digital. And also we are saying you have got the right to participate in the surveys which SARS does, so that SARS can get the voice back from you. Yes, you also have an obligation to timelessly engage with SARS. You engage to know. You also engage to register as a taxpayer and also to subscribe to other tax if you only had subscribed to one, because maybe you are as an individual, therefore you subscribe to PIT, and now you become a vendor, you need to subscribe to VAT, and now you are an employer, you need to subscribe to pay as you earn. And those are something which is part of your obligations, because there are timelines which you are expected to do so. Of course, as I said, that we work with and through stakeholders. There are times where you withhold trust money. The pay as you earn is trust money. The value added tax is trust money. You collect it on behalf of the people of South Africa. When you have collected it as your obligation, you are expected to transfer it to SARS within the timelines so that SARS can manage it and send it to the right place. Yes, you also have the right to receive an excellent service, irrespective of the method of engagement with SARS. Whether you engage us through voice, which is contact center, whether you engage us through walk-ins, whether you engage us through digital, you should get an excellent service. You should experience high quality of service. Of course, we are saying to SARS, please exceed the customer expectation. But also we are saying to SARS, because we want this to be an excellent service, SARS must be consistent in whatever they do when they engage with you. And of course, in everything which you do, there might be service failure. But we are saying for an excellent service to happen, there should be service recovery. Where SARS didn't do well, you should be able to correct through engagement when you bring it to the fore for them to be aware. Yes, SARS is also saying there's an obligation which is upon you, where you should cooperate fully and provide accurate and truthful information, which then will help SARS to do what they're supposed to do, and do so through appropriate channels, and do so within the timelines which are requested to do. And then that obligation is saying there should be no understatement of whatever you are declaring, and there should be no over declaration of what you are doing, because SARS, as part of their mandate, they should collect all revenue due. Yes, SARS, you should engage SARS through efficient and effective channels. As I indicated in the beginning, we have channels which are available 24/7. Utilize them. Those channels are effective, and those channels save you cost. Therefore, use such channels at the best. Yes, you also have the right to be heard. You have the right where you should be able to complain. You have the right where you should lodge disputes with SARS to solve your issues timelessly. I want to underline to SARS and to you, timelessly. When we say timelessly, it should not be only for stakeholders like you. It should also be timeless for SARS to respond. And we are saying when you are not satisfied, engage immediately with the supervisor or manager wherever you are engaging SARS. Most of the people, sometimes they send complaints very late. While if they are not happy with the person they are engaging at that time, there's a supervisor, there's a team leader, there's an operations manager, there's a manager of the center. You are welcome to raise issues with them, not to wait to say you will lodge it online only. Therefore, you are also welcome when you are not happy to capture and escalate complaints, of course, to the leadership of this organization through the complaints management system. Yes, we are saying you have the right. Yes, I want to emphasize, you have the right to request reasons for whatever SARS has done as an outcome. Most of the people will say, I don't know why I'm owing. I don't know why now I thought I will not be owing after this declaration. It will be a refund, it will be a minus and so on. But I don't know why. You have the reasons to ask. You have the right to say, SARS, where is this coming from? What are the reasons that now I'm owing, if you don't fully know and understand? But also, if you feel you are aggrieved and something has not been done correctly, you have the right to lodge an objection within the prescribed timelines. And that's very much important. I'm underlining the words prescribed, I'm underlining the words timelines, because when you think of engagement with SARS, those are very important. We don't want your issue to prescribe and then at the end you are no longer able to engage SARS. Also, we are fully aware, if you have exhausted all processes within SARS and you are still not happy, this country has made it sure that you should escalate it to an independent body, which is Office of the Tax Ombudsman. If you are not happy with whatever service or administrative processes which we have dealt with, you are welcome to escalate it to an independent body. And then they will be able to look at those service and administrative matters on fairness and equity between SARS and you as a trader and you as the taxpayer. We are also saying you have an obligation to provide all supporting documents and information within the required timeframes. You will know that when we issue our letters, we indicate the timeframes which you are supposed to honor. Acquaint with the content of the letters. Acquaint with the requested information and provide it to SARS. You are fully aware that whatever information you have utilized to deal with SARS on tax matters, either VAT, either PIT, and so on, CIT, you should be able to safeguard and store that information for the minimum of 5 years. And therefore, that's your obligation to do so. And as I said, the other important part of obligation with regard to your information is to provide SARS or update SARS when you change your address, when you change your banking details. We have received a number of issues where taxpayer, when we refund money or when we send final demands, they claim to say, I'm no longer in that address. I've not been in that address. And those are the issues now which are deliberated in court. But if you have updated your information on time, SARS will send whatever correspondence is on time. And that's why we prefer online e-filing Mobi app, because that's quicker. And also, we also expect that you will use SARS online query system, because that's quicker. It provides that information quickly to SARS. And therefore, your refund due will go to the correct bank, because if it goes to another account, whether closed, it becomes now an effort for you to retrieve the money which is due to run your business. Yes, we are saying you have the right to be treated without fear, favor, or prejudice by SARS in a confidential manner, because we need to work within the legislative framework. You should not find your information now publicized by SARS. That's why SARS doesn't disclose your information. Therefore, when they are helping you, it's not a favor. When they are assisting you, SARS employees should not take it as a favor. It's your right. It's your right because we are saying all should be equal before the law. It's your right because we are saying there should be no intimidation or harassment of whatever sort it might be. Either sexual harassment, it should not be there. Either intimidation, it should not be there. Yes, you should be treated fairly. Everybody should be treated fairly. And as I said, we should not disclose your information, which you have provided to SARS. You should be treated professionally by all SARS. That's your right, to be treated without fear, favor, or prejudice. But also we are saying you have an obligation to act honestly and respect the tax system. You have your own tax obligations, honor them. Be loyal to this country, South Africa, and also to its tax system. You recall what is written in the Constitution. South Africa belongs to all who live in it. And we, the people of South Africa. Therefore, let's be loyal to this country. And also, we are saying help this country to deter non-compliance by reporting tax fraud and non-compliance with the law. We are asking you to become part of great citizenry, to do so. And we are saying refuse to collude or conceal criminality. You are a great part of this country. If you love your country, it's easy to do so. We are saying report any fraud or criminality which you are aware of, because it is our responsibility. Let's do so that there's no revenue leakage. And the revenue which is collected can help us and help this country. Yes, you have the right to be represented by a professional. We fully understand that tax matters, sometimes they become complex and complicated. Most of us, we are not lawyers. Therefore, the jargon which is used by law sometimes is not easy. Therefore, where you need and you feel you need representation by a professional who are ethical, qualified and certified, either practitioner, either an agent, you can authorize them to handle your matters with SARS. All transactions done in the account by your representative will be regarded as done by the taxpayer or trader, while it is your right to get representation. Yes, this representative will be also allowed to participate in the stakeholder forums on behalf of the taxpayer to improve the tax administration. Whatever voice we get, it helps us to improve the process, the procedure, and also the attitudes. Yes, you also have an obligation. The obligation is to accept personal responsibility for any SARS or anything which SARS is doing, anybody's doing on your behalf. Therefore, you cannot abdicate your responsibility and accountability. The safeguarding of your tax reference number, your e-filing, Mobi app, username and password, it's your responsibility to do so. While you might even ask somebody to do it on your behalf, we are saying it will be taken as you abdicating your obligation to safeguard the information. Your ID, your password, your username, your tax reference number are information which should be safeguarded by you. Yes, representation doesn't delegate accountability. Whatever your representative is authorized to do, it is regarded to be done on your behalf. And that's very critical, because most of the time people come to SARS, I don't know. And when we check, was there any profile hijack? Was there any ID theft and so on? You find no. Then it is then you, or expected to be you, who has done whatever has been done into your account. We are fully emphasizing that you have got right to be respected by all SARS officials. To be respected by all SARS officials. At all times, they should show courteous behavior, friendly behavior. Respect is mutual. You respect SARS employees, and SARS employees should respect you. And we are also saying, in this respect, we should consider you to be honest unless proven otherwise. And that's why in our theory of compliance, we say as SARS, we consider and regard and believe that majority of taxpayers, of traders are honest. We believe, I'm using the word believe, that all taxpayers, majority of them, they are honest and they are willing to comply. And therefore, we should assist them to do so. When we look at you, we must not look at you with suspicious eyes, because we consider you in our theory of compliance that you are honest. Yes, you must get a delightful service experience from all our people. Yes, as a trader, as an SMME, we are expecting you to respect the legislative framework done by all SARS officials. Therefore, the transactions which they've done for you, with you, they have been done in good faith. And also we are saying, if we argue or we debate, it should be factual, based on the transactions or information which all we have. And we are saying, yes, we expect you to move from forced compliance to voluntary compliance. It's a responsibility where you submit your tax on time, where you submit supporting documents on time or as requested. And we are saying there should be no tax evasion or any illegal tax avoidance. Therefore, that's the obligations which we're expecting, and those are the rights which are yours. Therefore, take them. They are being promised. We have written them in our service charter. They are yours. Of course, in the real life, either at home, either at work, either anywhere we are in the community, there will be areas where we don't agree. And that's why many people will say, let's agree to disagree, because we have disputes. Therefore, there will be disputes in everything which you deal with SARS. There are disputes at home. Now, if there are disputes between you and SARS, you as the trader, you should initiate, because you are aggrieved, you should initiate the process to resolve the disputes. You should bring to the attention of the tax administration the dispute, issues which you are fully saying, I disagree. SARS, you have taken a decision, I disagree, I'm objecting, or I am appealing. That right you have on the basis either of the assessments we have done, in the basis of either the declarations you have done, or on the basis of either valuations or tariffs and so on, which we have done. You have that right to dispute. And now, there should be a process and a procedure to deal with disputes. And the process and procedure to deal with disputes in SARS is to ensure that we are aligning with international benchmark. Now, if we have developed this internal administrative appeal process, and also we have adopted this alternative dispute resolution guidelines, why have we done so? We have done so because we want to formalize the process of disputes. We cannot keep on shouting on each other. No, there should be a process. We should allow somebody to raise their side, and also the other one also to raise their side. It's in a formalized manner. And then we are bringing this organization into international benchmarking, because the other also entities in the international level, they follow this as a best practice of service recovery. But we are also saying we are seeking that there should be fairness in the process. We also want equity in whatever we are doing, but we also want to follow law to resolve the dispute between SARS and the aggrieved trader. And this will help us to eliminate issues which possibly might have happened in the past, either systemic and so on, because we are now aware we have brought a dispute. Therefore, the SARS is saying, don't just die alone. Ensure that you are able to raise your voice. And then this will help SARS either to deal with your issues through specific committees, which is following stipulated governance processes of appeals, because it's a formalized process. And therefore, we will be aligning ourselves as an organization within the country as constitution, and also aligning us with the other laws like Promotion of Administrative Justice Act, because there's fairness, there's openness, there's transparency. You will recall about Batupili principles. And all this process, as formalized, will ensure that either SARS officer and you as the stakeholder, you know exactly what is expected. You know exactly what process and procedure you have to follow. It is not something which somebody just think about it and then create it. No, it's documented, it's a known process. And that's why we are sharing about that today. Yes, because legislation gives that power that there should be this process. The right to appeal in customs matters originate from the Kyoto Convention, Chapter 10 of the General Annex. And that guides legislations and also procedures which customs administrations has to follow. But also within our own internal administrative appeal process, we are aligning to the guidelines, to the regulations which we have. Therefore, Section 77A, A to H, and Customs Excise Act, when we look at the rules 77H.01 and to 77H.16, they guide. And these guidelines, these rules needs to be followed. And when they are followed, they bring fairness to you. It is not some people who are just sitting somewhere and deciding to do things the way they think and the way they want. Yes. What is this appeal process? How should one do it? We are saying you should know that the appeal process should be done in writing. And writing ensures that we all know we can be able to prove. But you don't write it anywhere. You must write your appeal if you are appealing on a form which is designed by SARS. We have got a form called DA51. DA51, you should use it when you are appealing the outcome which SARS has taken. But we are saying, when you complete this form, it should be completed in full. Therefore, whatever information is required, please complete it in full. But complete it within 30 days where the decision has been taken. When now you have been notified of that decision, within 30 days, complete DA51 and submit it, and that's very critical, submit it to the office which has taken the decision. If the decision has been taken at a branch or at the center, therefore DA51 will be taken to the head of that division or center there. If it has been taken by head office, therefore that DA51 will be taken to head office. But within 30 days, when the decision or when you have been told about the reasons, that the sufficient reasons has been provided to you. Don't allow 30 days to expire, because then that makes your issue also to expire. Or you need to jump so many hoops. And the form is available. And the form is available. It's available on SARS website. I don't believe you are familiar with SARS website, www.sars.gov.za. When you are there, search for DA51 form, which should be completed in full. If not completed in full, it will then be invalidated, and then it will be rejected. Therefore, finalization of your appeal will be longer. Yes, this full process doesn't only say you should submit to SARS within 30 days. It also says SARS should acknowledge it in writing within 10 days of receiving fully completed document with all information or supporting information which is required to deal with the appeal. And this SARS needs to acknowledge. And it's a requirement. It gives SARS also accountability. And SARS should be able even to tell you and indicate to you that your appeal should be finalized within 60 days when it has been lodged. Those are the timelines which we are saying they are not only for you, but SARS also needs to respect. Therefore, ensure that all supporting information is provided. If in the form there is not enough space, you are allowed to attach an extra page and complete the other information which you think is suitable, and it's important for you to do so. When all information is not submitted, the applicant must be requested, must be informed and requested to provide the missing information and documents by SARS. Therefore, this is important that it is not only your obligation, but also SARS have an obligation. Now, if through the internal administrative appeal process, you have lodged it and you are not happy, SARS also have another process within itself, which is called alternative dispute resolution. Now, what is this process? What does it mean? How can one do it? Still, it's similar. Of course, this is also part of objecting on the outcome which possibly you have received. This ADR process may be initiated by you as an aggrieved trader or taxpayer. But take note that SARS have got the responsibility to determine whether your issue, which you are putting to the table, is suitable for alternative dispute resolution or ADR. If they say it is not, therefore they will guide you. It is suitable for what? And then this process, you have the right to choose so that it goes to the appeal committee, because it is on the basis that you are appealing the outcome. Either this relates to tariff, valuation, or origin matters. But of course, all of us, we know that tariffs, valuation, and origin matters are technical and complex matters at times to some of the people who don't work with these things on a regular basis. Therefore, you might find that really you need enough information because expertise is required to deal with them. In these cases, they are very critical where they are supposed to be dealt with. Yes, of course, you might disagree. You might disagree with the outcome. And when you disagree with that outcome, either it's part of VET, then you are supposed then to follow the process because you have already objected and you need to submit. And which form now are you going to use to submit? You will recall that I already spoken about the DA51. Now here we are in the ADR process. You are expected to complete DA52 form. And this DA52 form must be completed in full. But similarly, you should be able to address SARS within the 30 days when you have received notice about the outcome, either of the internal administrative appeal or any appeal committee of SARS. You should do that within 30 days. It's important. And as I indicated, SARS have got the decision power to say it is suitable or not suitable. But take note, because this is very critical. Many people will come and say, but no, I've exceeded the 30 days, I'm late, and so on. Within the 30 days where you are supposed to be submitting your ADR, if you think and realize that you might require longer period, you need to apply to the commissioner, who may agree to extend the submission of your DA50 form. But we are saying it is the prerogative of the commissioner. Now, don't wait for too late. On the 29th day, then you are asking the commissioner. The commissioner now have got only 1 day to apply his mind. Let's do that on time. SARS will inform the applicant by notice within 20 days that they have received your DA52 and whether the matter is appropriate for ADR or not, and how it may be resolved. Therefore, Rule 77I.04 says the commissioner must take a decision if he agrees, if you want to extend the time to submit. But Rule 77I still 0.04, it says within 20 days, then you must get a notice whether it is suitable or not. Similarly, as I said to the DA52 form, the form is available where? It's available on SARS website, www.sars.gov.za. Then you go and search for the DA52 form. I do believe this is simple and clear, but the information is still available on the website. Now, similarly, this might be sort of like a repetition of what I've just said to emphasize the ADR processes, to say, then you have submitted your form to appropriate appeal committee, and then you are pursuing your dispute. And then the form is delivered within the 30 days, and then you are getting appropriate feedback based on the rules and regulations within 20 days of notice, suitable, not suitable, appropriate, not appropriate, and then SARS deal with your matter. I do believe that summarizes the dispute processes. And as I said, we as an organization, we don't want you to look aside. We don't want you not to really check what is happening with regard to the country. We need to fight poverty through taxes and so on, because money will be flowing in, but we also need to fight fraud, which is the cancer if it is not managed very well. You are our ears, you can be our eyes. We are not everywhere. You are mostly in many places. As a small SMME, and also as a trader or as a taxpayer, as an individual. We are saying SARS as an organization is committed to clamping down any activities relating to tax fraud. And you can do this because as part of suspicious activity. Now, when you do that as a whistleblower, SARS will not provide feedback to you because section 67 to 69 of the Tax Administration Act, TAA, prohibits SARS to do so because tax matters are confidential. But we are welcoming all information you can provide to us, which you think and deem suspicious, tax avoidance, and so on. How do you do that? The link which you are able to see, which is also available on SARS website, you can use it, which is https://secure.sars.co.za, and you go to ad hoc case sourcing. Or you can go to our hotline. Yes, our hotline is 0800 00 2870. 0800 00 2870. Therefore, you can report any suspicious activity. What is suspicious activity? Anything which you think might be fraudulent. There are people who connive. There are people who tax people. In their pay slip, they've indicated tax, but that is not really tax because it is not even cent or sent to SARS, but they do so. There are people who claim behave like they are employers while they are not really employers. They are issuing even the IRP files and so on. You know them. People who claim to be running businesses while there's no business and they try to claim VAT. That's suspicious activity. You know them. Please provide full information. Information which can help this organization to be able to find those people who are culprits. Therefore, either our own people, sometimes whether they solicit payments for doing work, please, that's fraud. We cannot allow, we cannot look aside. Are you suspecting it to be happening? Is there any breach or there's any theft? I mean, we have got warehouses. I mean, you have had issues about cigarette smuggling and so on. Yes, this illicit economy, you are there. You are the ears and the eyes of this country, and therefore help this country by being great citizenry. Of course, you will remain anonymous based on the choice which you have, and also based on the circumstances which you might find yourself. But ensure that truly there's reasonable suspicion in whatever you are reporting to SARS. As I indicated, some of the things you can pick up is the tax number, is the office where these things are happening, street address and so on, is the pay as you number, is the company tax number, because SARS must be able to find, because most of the information sometimes which is provided, you find that it doesn't have enough information where we are able to connect to the culprit. How do you do that? You can send us an email to anticorruption@sars.gov.za, anticorruption@sars.gov.za, or you can send us another email at speakout@sars.gov.za, speak out. And through that, you will be helping this country to stop fraud and corruption. Great. I do believe now you know your rights, you know your obligations, you know how you are empowered by the law to dispute or to ask. Yes, I want to also talk about the other scourge to this country, the gender-based violence, the harassment, sexual harassment or otherwise, mostly which women experience, either in our own environment, but also in the country. We are saying we need to provide a safe environment for the people. SARS needs to provide a safe environment. As I indicated at the beginning, that within the Constitution, Section 195, it provides these basic values and principles of governing public administration. And these are to ensure that there's high standard of professionalism and ethics. And we are also saying we need to ensure that the efficient and economic effective use of our resources. And again, we are saying, as a public administration, we should have a development orientation where we want to ensure that our country grows and our country competes well with others. But we are saying our services must be provided impartially, fairly and equitably, and without bias. Now, I am emphasizing bias because we have heard that many women or any other people of gender of their choice, they are ill-treated, mistreated, and so on. It should not happen in SARS. When you visit a branch, when you visit our center, when you call us, it should not happen. Yes, the people of South Africa expect us to really respond to their needs, and we must do so. And we are saying, we as a part of the public administration, we must be accountable, and we must ensure that there's transparency in whatever we have. And therefore, we must be ensuring that our resources is managed properly. And therefore, that's why SARS is part of those people who are saying we should fight the scourge of gender-based violence and anything harassment which relates to it. There's no favor in what SARS does to you. It's not a favor, it's stewardship. We are doing it on behalf of the people of South Africa. And therefore, we are saying when you enter our space, you should be able to feel that you are entering a gender-based violence-free zone wherever you are engaging us. We are not going to tolerate any harassment, any bullying. Even if people are owing us, we should not bully them. We should not intimidate them. We should not take advantage to them that they are small businesses. We should not take advantage to them that they are women. And therefore, no violence is expected. And that's the promise we are giving to you. And we are saying, this is the word, starting from the commissioner and going down to the individuals who service you. Yes, within our environment, it should be safe. Safe for us to work and safe for you to do business with us. And therefore, you should be able to speak well when you start to see that SARS employees or colleagues are crossing the line. And you should be able to report such instances because we want safe environment. Of course, SARS is saying we want to encourage cultural diversity. Let's embrace and let's be able to tolerate each other. Yes, we are different, and that difference brings great diversity. That's why our leaders have been also talking about Rainbow Nation. We must protect women and vulnerable groups, either at our ports and everywhere we engage with us. You know, the vulnerable groups are women and children. Of course, we understand that there are other men who are also abused, who are also harassed, but the majority are those. And we also say, we are emphasizing, don't look aside. Please facilitate that we have great working space, facilitate that our women are safe. Yes, women should feel freedom to trade. Trade anywhere. Trade in the space provided without fear of harassment or any prejudice based on the gender you have opted to be. That's the promise. You know, I love what they say in Afrikaans. They say, belofte as belofte. Therefore, promise, it's a promise. And therefore, we want you to take note of that. Yes, if you find that there are those things which are going against the values of this organization of unquestionable integrity, being an exemplary public service, having professional and great ethics. If you find that those things are happening, we are encouraging you to speak up. Either you are experiencing it or either you see it happening. We have numbers for you to report any cases which relates to gender-based violence. Of course, SARS have got a National Security Command Center, and that command center is always awake to deal with your issues. Where do you take them? 012-422-6025. 012-422-6025 or 6031. That is the number you can use. You can also use Gender-Based Violence Command Center, which is 0800-428-428. 0800-428-428. Or you can go to the South African Police Service Crime Stop, 0860-10-111. 0860-10-111. Or you can go to Stop Gender Violence, 0800-150-150. 0800-150-150. Yes, SARS will, at all material times, listen attentively to the victims of gender-based violence. We are saying, we hear, we believe what you will be telling us, and we will stand by you and with you. This is the promise which this organization is saying to you. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, while we need to deal with that, we are saying SARS is available. SARS is available 24/7. How do you do that? Yes, we have our own SARS Mobi app. SARS Mobi app, it can help you to deal with text matters on your cell phone. People nowadays, they have cell phones. Cell phones is not only to call, but it's also a tool now for doing business. You can also register for e-filing. E-filing helps you to deal with text matters wherever you are. You are able to pay. You are able to submit tax returns. You also are able to see the status of your tax matters. Yes, we also have SARS online query system. And this system, you can even ask for tax number. You can even submit supporting documents. You can ask so many issues with regard to that. Now we have upgraded it. You are able even to see the status of your transaction. Why are we doing this? We want to save you cost to travel to the nearest branch or nearest center. We want to save you time for traveling. We also want to save you time for calls. We want to save you time for wasting your time because you are busy as an SMME, as a trader, as a women in business. We are saving you. We are also saying you can even use our USD system to engage with SARS. Yes, SARS is available. It's available on social media platforms. LinkedIn, SARS is there. On Facebook, SARS is there. On Twitter, SARS is there. On our website, SARS is there. Oh, yes, even SARS have got SARS TV on the YouTube channel. Whatever we are presenting today and whatever has been presented other days is available. If you want to ask ourselves questions or to see how things are being done, we have recorded a number of YouTubes which can save you time and save you money. Yes, by paying attention today, it will save you cost. Through those words, Program Director, while I say I thank you, Siyabonga, Akenza, Danki, Enkosi, Giatokoza, we say South Africa belongs to all who live in it. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Razalani. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you have found value in the information that has been provided as SMME traders. We urge you to use the various channels to engage us as indicated by Dr. Razalani. Ladies and gentlemen, please do also not forget that you have the option of posting your questions in the chat box. Our next presenter is Mr. Russell Mamabolo from the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. Mr. Mamabolo is a seasoned communicator with over 25 years in the communications and stakeholder engagement sphere, having worked for numerous South African government departments and entities. He joined the Office of the Tax Ombudsman, Communications and Stakeholder Unit in 2022 as a specialist in communications and outreach, where part of his responsibilities include building and nurturing mutually beneficial partnerships with stakeholders, taxpayers, the media, recognized controlling bodies, and promoting public awareness about the OTO and its free and impartial services for taxpayers. He has a diploma in secondary education and a bachelor's degree in education and psychology. Mr. Mamabolo is the recipient of many communication accolades and awards as a top communicator. Without any delays, the platform is yours, Mr. Mamabolo.
Thank you very much. And thanks once more, Katleho, for the opportunity for us as the Office of the Tax Ombudsman to engage with the stakeholders at this platform. I will be talking about the services that the Office of the Tax Ombudsman offers, and please give it attention so that you follow through. You will know what is it that you need to do in case there are challenges that you may be facing. Now, who are we? The Office of the Tax Ombudsman is an impartial and independent avenue established in October 2013 in terms of the Tax Administration Act. We are dedicated to resolving taxpayers' complaints investigated about SARS. We are also committed to improving the country's tax system by striving to maintain a balance between SARS powers and duties on the one hand, and taxpayers' rights and obligations on the other. We do have a good working relationship with SARS to promote service excellence, procedural and administrative fairness. What does the Office of the Tax Ombudsman do? We assist taxpayers who have tax complaints about SARS. We do provide an impartial and free avenue to speedily resolve disputes. We are also mandated to review and address any complaint by a taxpayer regarding a service, procedural, or any administrative matter. We also have a team of legal services team here, as well as the operations team, who are mandated to review systemic issues. These are particular matters that can be regarded as the underlying cause of a complaint that affects or will affect many taxpayers in the tax system. What type of complaints does the tax ombudsman handle? We only handle complaints lodged about SARS. Complaints that relate to a service, administrative, and procedural issue. Complaints must relate to the application of the tax legislation. Now, what are the examples of complaints that the tax ombudsman can deal with? For an example, if we refer to a service.
Dr. Mamabolo, your presentation is not flighting. Kindly ensure that it is flighting before we continue.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Let me get back to the presentation. Are you able to see the presentation?
Not yet. Yes, we are now. If you could put it in presentation mode, please.
I'm sorry about that. Let us continue with the presentation. I'll have to take you back so that you are able to see what I have referred to. Yes, I've indicated that the Office of the Tax Ombudsman is an impartial and independent avenue established in October 2013 in terms of the Tax Administration Act. We are dedicated to resolving taxpayers' complaints investigated about SARS. We are committed to improving the country's tax system by striving to maintain a balance between SARS powers and duties on the one hand and taxpayers' rights and obligations on the other. We do have a good working relationship with SARS to promote service excellence, procedural and administrative fairness. What does the Office of the Tax Ombudsman do? We assist taxpayers who have tax complaints about SARS. We provide an impartial and a free avenue to speedily resolve disputes. We are also mandated to review and address any complaint by a taxpayer regarding a service or a procedural or any administrative matter. We are also mandated to review what we refer to as systemic issues. These are particular matters that can be regarded as the underlying cause of a complaint that affects or will affect many taxpayers in the tax system. What type of complaints does the tax ombudsman handle? We only handle complaints lodged about SARS. We also deal with complaints that should relate to a service, administrative and procedural issue. Complaints must relate to the application of the tax legislation. Now, these are examples of complaints that the tax ombudsman can deal with. When we refer to a service, we are referring to a situation where at the call centers or branch employees are unhelpful, unprofessional, and are rude to you as a taxpayer and are unable to provide you with the required assistance and information that you desperately need. When we refer to administrative issues, here we are referring to where SARS is issuing a notice of assessment which does not have required information such as your name or your name as well as the date of the assessment. So it's information that is not proper and doesn't reveal your true information. And procedural matters, we are saying when conducting an assessment without providing the consent taxpayer with a notice of assessment or issuing a third-party appointment, that is where SARS instructing your bank, you owe SARS, yes, but SARS instruct your bank to take money from your bank account without engaging with you. So those are typical issues that we are dealing with and trying to assist taxpayers. Now, our website has typical information in terms of systemic issues that we have investigated. This we refer to delays in payment of refunds, incorrect allocation of payments, SARS repeat verification cases, non-adherence by SARS to dispute resolution and related issues, failure to respond to the requests for a compromise within the prescribed turnaround times, for an example of 90 days. SARS creates a consistency check case on a VAT period to conduct verification. Inability of the part of SARS to confirm correspondence was sent, failure to respond to the request for a suspension of payment within the prescribed turnaround times, SARS delays in coding the taxpayer's profile as a deceased estate and updating the executor's contact. So these are typical cases that the tax ombudsman has investigated, and they appear to be systematic, and we are engaging on that. For detailed information in this regard, please go to our website for you to get more information on this systemic cases that we have. Now, there are also typical, examples of what the tax ombudsman cannot deal with, cases that the tax ombudsman cannot deal with. For an example, from time to time, we do have taxpayers who want us to review the legislation or the tax policy or the SARS policy for that matter. Unfortunately, that's the area that is outside our mandate. A matter or subject to objection and or a matter that is going through the appeal process. Those are typical cases that we cannot entertain up until the matter has been finalized. A decision of proceedings in or a matter before a tax court, yes, we unfortunately can interfere in that process until all those issues are finalized and you still feel aggrieved. You are most welcome to contact the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. Now, why should you use the Office of the Tax Ombudsman? Our services are free. We do not charge anything for once you lay out your complaint with the tax ombudsman. We do not charge a cent. We are accessible. Yes, we are here in Pretoria at the main lane corner next to this big main lane center here. However, we do have access, and the reach, to even assist everybody who is anywhere in the South African corners or the South African sphere. We also deal with one person. If you complain to us or register your complaint with us, the complaint will be registered and assigned to an individual operations team member who will engage with you from start up until the matter has been finalized. What is also of advantage to us, the Office of the Tax Ombudsman, is that we do have access to the SARS system. So whatever engagements that you would have made, throughout with your assessment and so on, we are able to see those interactions, and we are also able, to make, recommendations on, how the matters, can be dealt with. Now, why should you lodge the complaint with the tax ombudsman or the process thereabout? We prefer that the taxpayers must first exhaust their SARS complaints mechanism process before they approach the Office of the Tax Ombudsman. That is, they must register their complaint with the Complaints Management Office unless there are compelling circumstances for not doing so. And of course, you have to present to us those compelling circumstances for us to be able to evaluate that indeed, definitely, they are compelling, that you cannot wait for the SARS process, to take through. And how do you lodge a complaint? First, you need to obtain a complaint form from our website, that is www.taxombudsman.gov.za. You can also do an online submission, or you can visit us at Main Lane Corner, 2nd floor, 87 Freek de Beer Street in Main Lane in Pretoria. We do accept walk-ins. You don't have to make any appointment. Or you can call us on our toll-free number, that is 0800 662 837. Alternatively, you can also use the fax line that with the number that is provided, 012-452-5013. Alternatively, should you want to post, please use our address, physical address, mainland corner, second floor, 87 Freki de Beer Street. The mail will come through and will give your complaint attention. Ensure you complete the form in full. The document that you are providing to us must have factual information and capture information in chronological order, including SARS case numbers. Attach all supporting documents for reference so that we can follow through. Please use the correct tax reference number. Indicate the period you are complaining about. Indicate your desired outcome. It is very important. The OTO will capture the complaint and will issue a letter of acknowledgement, and also will decide how to handle the complaint, or even recommend alternative remedies to you. Ensure that you sign and you date all the forms that you are providing to us. When using a representative, the complainant must submit a power of attorney along with certified ID copies of the complainant and the representative. What happens after a complaint is lodged? The OTO will investigate the matter. We will establish whether the complaint falls within our mandate. We will also check whether the complainant has exhausted the SARS complaint resolution mechanism. If not, whether the complainant has provided compelling circumstances. We will verify if there are any limitations that apply. We'll check if the complaint is valid. If the complaints are found to be within the mandate, thus there is a service, procedural, or administrative failure from SARS side, the OTO will then recommend to SARS how to remedy the situation. A letter of acceptance will be sent to the taxpayer. If it happens that the case is rejected, a letter of the outcome will be sent to the complainant with reasons for why the complaint was rejected. Now, recommendations. Our recommendations are not binding to the taxpayer or to SARS, but if not accepted by SARS or the taxpayer, reasons for such decision must be provided to the tax ombudsman with 30 days of notification of those recommendations. And such information may be included in the tax ombudsman report to the Minister of Finance or the SARS Commissioner. However, I need to emphasize that in the previous annual report, we have seen that 98% of our recommendations made to SARS are being implemented. Now, what are the taxpayer mistakes that we note? We note that taxpayers do submit, information very late. There's also delayed in payments when, SARS is owed, and also taxpayers do not adhere to the SARS dispute rules. We also note that there's incomplete submission of complaints form, and also that the taxpayers do not submit supporting documents when they are required to do so. Our reporting goes like this. SARS updates the Office of the Tax Ombudsman on a bi-weekly basis on cases not resolved by them. The OTO provides a quarterly report to the Minister of Finance as well in terms of our activities, and as well to the SARS Commissioner. We also do provide the Minister of Finance with an annual report on everything that has taken place, during the year. Now, Dr. Rasilane has indicated and has gone into details pertaining to, your rights and entitlement as a taxpayer. The Office of the Tax Ombudsman is also interested in these specific aspects. Now, these bullets that you see below, in front of, on the screen here, articulates there's more information and underlying information behind those, information that you see. Now, we want to emphasize this particular information. We say that you have the right to access information that is with SARS. You are entitled to receive quality and timely service from SARS. You have the right to a fair, unbiased, and just tax system. You do not have to pay any more than the correct amount of tax due to SARS. You have the right to privacy and confidentiality. Very, very important. You have the right to retain representation. You are entitled to finality. You are entitled to make certain requests, proposals, applications to SARS. You are entitled to complain without fear of victimization. You also have the right to dispute, challenge assessments or decisions that are made by SARS. The other aspect that we, as the Office of the Tax Ombudsman, that we want to emphasize is that you, as the taxpayer, you have certain obligations that you need to be aware of. You have the duty to pay your taxes timeously. You have to take responsibility of your own tax affairs. You must register as a taxpayer. You must honestly and accurately report on your assessments. You must comply. You must also do a full and true declarations. You must submit your documents when you are, required to do so. You are also obligated to update your contact details. From time to time, we lose, our cell phones, we change, where we stay and so on. Please ensure that when SARS want to engage with you, they are able to engage with you on the contact details that you have provided to them. You also have to keep your document for a period of 5 years if it can be required. And you also have an obligation of a representation by public officers. Now, I also want to share this information with you. As the Office of the Tax Ombudsman, we have an educational campaign that will be starting on the 1st of August. The purpose thereof is to create awareness and educate taxpayers about the OTO services. We will be using various communication platforms such as radio, newspapers, television, social media, billboards, and our own publications, Fairness for All and Fair Play, to communicate these services that we offer. We also, from time to time, do stakeholder engagements and outreach sessions. We do presentations to public and private institutions, whether it's in business, government institutions, or recognized controlling bodies and other, institutions. Now, these are important, information that you need to know. We will be at the Four Ways Mall on the 22nd to the 28th August in Johannesburg, engaging with the taxpayers there. You are most welcome to visit us so that we can engage with you. We'll also be in Canal Walk in Cape Town in October. That is from the 24th to the 28th of October in Cape Town, as well as we will be engaging with taxpayers there. And also, we do from time to time engage with tax practitioners and tell them about the services and the work, and also listen to the challenges that they have and see how best to engage with them. And we will be in Polokwane on the 17th of August engaging. So should you request that the OTO engage with you, there's the email address that we are providing, communications@taxombud.gov.za. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the end of the presentation. Just to emphasize our contact details as well, our toll-free line is 0800 662 837. We also have a landline 012 431 9105. There's the fax number that we have communicated. Our email address is complaints@taxombud.gov.za. Again, to repeat our website, it's www.taxombud.gov.za. We are here in Mainland Corner, 87 Frecky de Beer Street in Pretoria. You are most welcome to engage with us. And lastly, we also have, a publication that I've indicated earlier as well, Fairness for All, where we articulate, complaints that have been registered with the office, the findings thereof, and our recommendations to SARS on, those complaints that we received. The information that I've shared with you today does not supersede any legislation, and readers who are in doubt regarding any aspect of the information that displayed in this presentation should refer to the relevant legislation or seek a formal opinion from a suitably qualified individual. Thank you very much, Katleho, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mamabolo, for all the information that you've shared. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, do ensure that you use the engagement channels as indicated by Mr. Mamabolo. Please use the OTO's website, www.taxombud.gov.za, for their newsletter and for additional information that you may require. We now have reached the Q&A segment. I will now hand over to Mr. Gumani Mugeri, who is our moderator during this segment, in which you will be given an opportunity to raise your tax-related questions that you may have, and they will be responded to by our panel of experts. The floor is yours, Mr. Mugeri.
Thank you very much, Katleo. And thank you very much to our speakers, Dr. Razilani, as well as Mr. Mamabolo on the tax ombud rights processes and procedures. We appreciate your comprehensive, detailed, and precise engagements with us in as far as the trader rights and obligations are concerned. It is now time for us to deal with the Q&As, the questions and the clarity-seeking engagement. I will now call on our experts who will further come and share with us some messages or some context that they wish that traders should be aware of. The first person I will call on the floor is Francina. Francina will come and talk to us about the processes and procedures for alternative dispute resolutions and appeals. Our next expert, I will call Mangoba Salimani, who is our expert in the area of anti-corruption and fraud. As I call on my colleagues, they will also come to the fore. The next expert is Mandisa. Mandisa is our expert on gender equality. She will come and share with us as well some initiatives that SARS is doing to advance the rights and obligations for women in trade, as well as related gender rights. Lastly, we'll then have Hansen, and Mr. Razilani will also come again to make emphasis on some of the issues that the panel will have spoken about, and I will call them later. My first question goes to Francina. Francina, with regards to the area of alternative dispute resolution and appeals, will you kindly share with us what has been SARS common experiences with regards to the quality of submissions, the confusion with regards to the rights and the obligations, and all matters pertaining to the processes which you believe that have compromised or they compromise the service efficiency as well as the turnaround time in the area of alternative dispute resolution?
Thank you very much for those questions. Good day, audience, colleagues, and welcome from my side as well. The first question that was posed to me refers to the common experiences that affects the quality of the service when it comes to the dispute, and also some issues that we have experienced in the past. So very important, as highlighted earlier, is that you submit your appeal in time. In time means 30 calendar days from the date that you have received an outcome whether that is a decision that was taken by way of an audit finding or any other decision that SARS may have taken and that you are informed of as traders. After you have submitted this appeal, your grounds of appeal must be extremely clear. In other words, you need to state exactly what you are aggrieved about, why you are aggrieved, and what outcome do you desire from this appeal that you are lodging with the relevant office that made such a decision. There are sometimes information that must be submitted as supporting documentation. Hence, maybe revised logbooks. If you are claiming for diesel refunds, if I can use that as an example, maybe a tariff decision that has been taken which you are not in agreement with, and now you will submit additional supporting documentation. Very, very important to ensure that we have at our disposal as SARS all relevant information that might assist us in coming to a conclusion in relation to your appeal. So there are sometimes confusion in relation to how long an appeal will take, or do I have to get legal representation? Do I have to contact the auditor, etc.? So when you want to appeal, you have that right to use legal representation, or you can do it yourself. The appeal process is not complicated. SARS has tried to make it as easy as possible for our clients to also voice when they are not happy with a decision that has been made. So although you have that right to use legal representation, you also can present yourself in these matters. So you do not always have to solicitate the services of any legal representation when you appeal or follow the alternative dispute resolution. So in terms of the turnaround times, that compromises this process. If you do not have all the relevant documentation, or if you have not submitted all the relevant documentation, this appeal committee might request additional information from you, and in that request, they will be very clear in relation to the turnaround time in which you need to submit the supporting documentation. So very important to note is that that appeal can only be decided upon when all relevant information is received and the time frame within which the committee or the relevant individual will make the decision in terms of an ADR is depicted in the rules to the Act. So usually for an appeal, it's 60 working days after all information has been received and 20 working days for an ADR, an alternative dispute resolution, after the ADR has been received. So anything that is not submitted to enable this committee to make a decision will compromise the turnaround time of your appeal or ADR. Thank you, Gumani.
Thank you very much, Francina. Maybe as a follow-up, there's a question from Nalini Maharaj, who's saying, who needs clarity in terms of the 30 days, whether it's working days or calendar days.
Thank you for that question, Nalini. So in terms of the 30 days, it is 30 working days after the decision has been made.
Okay, thank you very much, Francina. We'll move to Mangoba Salimani, our expert in fraud and corruption, anti-corruption and fraud. And there's a question that I want to put to you, Mangoba. In terms of the work that you do, we know that SARS, as a service agency as well as a regulatory authority, is prone to having or to be subject to corrupt activities by traders who may not want to follow due processes. And there is as well quite many compliant traders who see things out there which SARS may not be able to see. What are the provisions that SARS has in place for traders who may want to collaborate with SARS to mitigate or deal with activities of fraud and corruption? You can expand more on that info as well as what are the obligations of those who may want to participate in whistleblowing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bumani, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen, to the SARS colleagues, as well as the traders, taxpayers, and the public at large. Well, in relation to your question, I must just initially state that SARS adopts a zero-tolerance approach when it comes to fraud and corruption. And that is very much articulated in its Vision 2024, which clearly articulates that SARS seeks to become an organization with unquestionable integrity that can be trusted and admired. And we have a very acute understanding and acknowledgement that that cannot be achieved in isolation without working with key stakeholders such as taxpayers, traders, as well as the public at large. As a result, SARS has a variety of channels that are available to whistleblowers and the public that seeks to report nefarious activity in relation to fraud and corruption. I'm aware that the good doctor did allude to some earlier on, but I'd like to emphasize on those as well, to indicate the fact that in terms of our channels, we do have the SARS fraud hotline, which is 0800 00 2870. So that's 0800 00 2870 for those that would like to reach out to us telephonically. We do also have an opportunity or a mechanism via our SARS internet platform where colleagues can go straight to reporting of a tax crime, and there they can report suspicious activities which have been identified. And there is a form to be completed which allows them an opportunity to provide further details. And we also then have an additional channel in terms of our mailboxes, and the preferred channel being anti-corruption@sars.gov.za. That is that's anti-corruption@sars.gov.za. Now, a number of our traders and taxpayers may inquire what exactly is required to be reported. And we do encourage them to apply a similar methodology that is applied in academia around what some would know as the 5 whiskeys and a hotel. In other words, the 5 W's and H. That is what, where, when, how, why, and I'll go into further detail. In other words, when reports are made by whistleblowers, we do want them to indicate to us, to the best of their knowledge, what type of transgression do they believe has occurred? When did this particular transgression take place? Where did the particular transgression take place? And who was involved in terms of the transgression taking place, and why they believe that this activity was improper. This is very important because when providing us with this extensive detail, it can become a form of a determination in terms of the extent to which the investigation can progress. Where minimal information has been provided, it does hinder the investigation to be able to fully progress to its finality. Now, when whistleblowers do make their reports to SARS, some of them may be concerned about their well-being and their safety. And in this regard, SARS has mechanisms and measures in place to ensure the protection of our whistleblowers. Now, there are different mechanisms available to internal staff members, whereas for external, the public as well as traders, we also have other mechanisms working hand in hand with law enforcement. And in terms of these mechanisms, especially when reporting suspected activity or suspicious activity, we would like for them to be able to detail and indicate to us instances where they feel that their well-being or their lives could be at stake. And in this regard, a risk assessment will then be considered, working hand in hand with law enforcement to then ensure and capacitate law enforcement to be able to provide the requisite support and protection to our whistleblowers. Thank you, Gumani. I'll pause there for now.
Thank you very much, Mangova. While we are at it, I will encourage our participants to use our dedicated email address, which is traderrise@sars.gov.za. Your trader should be singular and then rise. traderrise questions@sars.gov.za. We have noted that some of the traders, they put the word trader in plural. So when you send your email, if in case you have any specific personalized query or engagement that you need to have with SARS, you can direct it there. Our team will ensure that they get back to you and facilitate the engagements with you. Thank you very much. We will move to the next question, which goes to the Ombudsman. And after that, I will bring in Mandisa to talk about the work that we are doing with regards to women in trade, gender equality, as well as people with disability. However, the first question that goes to the Ombudsman, and I will ask Franz Falun to take care of the question. So the question, Franz, I'm getting an echo. The question is coming from Anonymous, and it says, hi, what is the next steps to take if a complaint with the tax ombuds has not been completed by SARS, as it was stated in the recommendation?
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question, Gumani. And yes, in cases where our office dealt with a complaint and we have accepted the complaint and made recommendations to SARS, once we then close that complaint and a taxpayer feels that the complaint was not adequately addressed before we close the complaint, a taxpayer is more than welcome to send an email to our office to appeal the decision of the office to close that complaint. I can also just highlight that it's not requested to send another complaints form, but that a normal email or a normal letter can be drafted and emailed to our office at complaints@taxombud.gov.za. Thank you, Gumani. I hope that adequately addresses the question.
Thank you very much, Francois. And we'll proceed to Mandisa. So, Mandisa, we do know that SARS does a lot of work with regards to the promotion of the rights of people, whether it's employees or traders with disability, as well as advancing gender equality. We would like you to share with the audience, what is SARS doing towards advancing the rights of women in trade and also promoting gender equality? If there is any program that you'd like to share, you can take the opportunity to share with the traders the work that we're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gumani. One of the key issues and problems that we have as a country is the scourge that was referred to earlier by Dr. Ratzelane of gender-based violence. And as SARS, we've taken the stance that all SARS premises are GBV-free environments. We know that when it comes to our borders, we share these with other state institutions, and we are hard at work with our brother and sister institutions to ensure that we all adopt the concept of a GBV-free environment. We want to assure our traders that to the extent that you experience any form of harassment or discrimination by a SARS employee, you are really urged to bring this to our attention, and you can do so anonymously. The various channels were shared, and I think we will continue to share these, because in most instances, when we fall victim to harassment and gender-based violence, there is fear attached to this, and we are assuring you that we will treat this with discretion, and we will treat this with the speed that is required. We acknowledge the fact that in most instances, one of the root causes of gender-based violence is inequality, whether inequality is as a result of gender inequality or inequality for persons with disabilities. Again, we are ensuring that our premises and all our channels are accessible to everyone. Whether as a taxpayer or trader, you become disabled during the course of your life, we are ensuring that our systems are accessible to you. We are also working hard with partner government institutions to ensure that our premises are also accessible to everyone. Again, to the extent that you have any concerns or issues around access with us, whether it's physical access or access through our systems, we would like you to report this, because at all material times, we would like to ensure an ease of access, which will lead to the rights that Dr. Ratzelane spoke of being realized. And as far as trader and SMME support, Mr. Msongeni and I are hard at work with a working group that has membership across the SARS business units that again are going to be looking at all the barriers that are there for SMMEs, particularly SMMEs that are owned by the vulnerable groups, which tend to be women and persons with disabilities, to ensure that there is ease of communication and speedy access, as well as speedy response when it comes to us as an institution. We would like to also ensure that all our traders, as well as other partners in the logistics environment, join us in declaring all our workspaces to be gender-based violence free, as well as harassment-free environments. Thank you, Kumani, for the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mandisa, for being such precise. We know the collaboration that is happening in the SACU as well as in the WCO Eastern Southern African region. And we commend the good initiatives that are emerging there. So we hope that the traders will have more details as work progresses within the working groups. And we'll move to Mr. Msongweni, who have already been announced earlier or is been on the platform. Mr. Msongweni, if you can take this opportunity to share with the audience some of the initiatives from the SMME that you're doing. If there is any programs to look forward to, you may also share with the traders, as well as the incentives that the traders may take advantage of.
Thank you, Kumani. Thank you very much for the opportunity once again. The most biggest incentives that I want to talk about this morning is that SARS as an organization have this small and medium micro segment. And this segment is dedicated to support the SMMEs, both on the domestic tax as well as the traders. So our customs traders need to know that within SARS, there's a unit that is built and developed to support them, and we encourage them to use that advantage. The other thing that I want to highlight to you, traders, is that we want to encourage our traders to register with SARS. There's a lot of benefits that has been developed and made, specific incentives that are made through the turnover tax. But you can only have access to those incentives if you are registered with SARS. We encourage then our traders within the SMME to register so that they can enjoy those benefits of the turnover as well as the small business corporation. There's also the employee tax incentives that comes with that registration. The second one, incentives that I want to talk about is within the customs and excise space, very old incentives of the deferments, where you can import your goods without paying the VAT and the import tax and only pay it at the end of the month. But still that you need to register, you need to meet certain requirements, and we're there to support our traders on that front. The other big issue that I want to talk about that SARS is driving for our SMMEs is the AEO, the Authorized Economic Operator. This AEO is meant for all our traders. And what we're observing at the moment is that the big and the large companies are the only ones who are using this program. So we encourage our SMMEs to take advantage of it, register for it. It comes with so much benefits. For example, you just get yourself a full-time dedicated relationship manager that whenever you have problem with SARS, you don't need to phone contact center. You don't need to go to our branches. You just press a button and we have a dedicated SARS officials that will support you. So we encourage our SMMEs to take advantage of the AEO as well as the benefits that comes with it. As I close from our side as the SMME, we also want to highlight and indicate to our traders that we are available in the different digital platforms. We're live on the social media, Facebook and Twitter. Most of our newsletters, fresh and new information that is specially designed for our SMMEs get published and posted on that front. And please use our website, www.sars.gov, and look for that small business site. And we have a lot of information that we've designed and developed for our SMME traders. And I'm also encouraging our traders that are present here today that they must subscribe to our SARS TV and all our webinars, including this one. It is in our YouTube, so you can still have access to it even at a later stage. Thank you very much, sir, and bring back to you, Mr. Mgering.
Thank you very much, Hansen. And before I hand over to Dr. Thomas, I want to remind our traders that the presentation will be made available. The video will be available on YouTube. In the presentation, the contacts of who you may contact with regards to any specific query or subject matter, they are out there. And would love to engage more with you so that we can provide you with the necessary service that befits your needs. And as I conclude, I'll ask Mr. Razilani to take the floor and just give an overview, emphasis on matters that may not have necessarily been shared here as we conclude our panel. And thank you very much for the panel. After Dr. Razilani, it will be back to you, Katlego. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mgeri. Yes, the honors of transparency of SARS is available. How are we performing based to the service charter? We publish it monthly on the website. Therefore, that information is available because SARS is saying you need to understand what's happening in the value chain from engagement until the service recovery. how are we performing, and that we are doing it to ensure that you are available. Therefore, SARS is being held accountable internally by the Service Charter Champion team to ensure that they live the SARS promises and also the SARS motto, SARS at your service. We are here really to say we are available to serve you. We are available to ensure that our machinery assist to make life easy. Thank you very much, Mr. Mugeri, and also Katlego. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Radzelani, and to all the panel experts. We have reached the end of our program. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and participation in this SMME Traders' Rights webinar. We hope that the information shared today has been beneficial. Please be reminded to forward some of your unanswered questions to traderrightsquestions@sars.gov.za, and the team will respond to your questions. Please also make use of the frequently asked questions tab on the SARS website, www.sars.gov.za, as a source of valuable information. Please note that the information under this tab is available in different languages, such as isiZulu, Sesotho, Sepedi, Chitonga, and Afrikaans. Ladies and gentlemen, as we fast approach the 9th of August, which is Women's Day in South Africa, we would like to acknowledge all the women of South Africa, especially those on the line. Today, we salute all women in business. Gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It is a precondition for meeting the challenges of reducing poverty, promoting sustainable development, and building good governance. The success of the SMME sector is a critical part to addressing these challenges. SMME traders are a critical ingredient to South Africa's socio-economic transformation. At SARS, as has been indicated during this discussion, we affirm our commitment to providing services which are fair, impartial, equitable, and without bias, particularly for marginalized groups such as women and persons with disabilities. Thank you to the SMME segment team, the presenters that have presented today, the Office of the Tax Ombudsman, the panel of experts, the taxpayer and trader education team, and everyone in the technical team that has supported today's webinar. Before we bid each other farewell, please remember, as soon as you leave this webinar, you will be directed to the survey. We would like you to please participate in this survey because we would greatly appreciate your feedback. We wish you all a good day further. Please, please remember that your tax matters. Goodbye.
All your years of paying tax, thank you for every life you saved and every risk you braved. When you saw our healthcare workers on the front lines battling COVID, you rose to the occasion and gave them the tools to save lives. Without your tax compliance, we wouldn't be able to fight a good fight. When you saw our vulnerable communities, you provided for them. To all taxpayers and traders, thank you. Continue to pay your tax. Your tax matters.